What is up, guys? My name is STIX, and if you don't already, follow me over on Twitter at ByteStix to stay updated with the latest MMO related news. I have been spammed by so many people over the last 24 hours asking me to do a video on Maplestory 2. Since my first video did so well, and with the closed beta starting a few mere days ago, I felt like this was the perfect opportunity to. Well, just because I felt that way didn't mean the Goddess of Light would grace me with a beta key. Alas, the Goddess of Darkness, with whom my wife shares similar personality traits to, don't kill me, did bless her with a closed beta key with which I promptly borrowed, stole, and began my adventure in Maplestory 2. There are a total of 8 classes in game right now: Knight, Wizard, Archer, Thief, Berserker, Priest, Heavy Gunner, not to be confused with Light Gunner, she hates it when you do that, and Assassin. Each class utilizes its own unique playstyle, has its own unique choice of weapons, and has its own story to follow. Yes, each class has its very own unique class-centric storyline to follow. As an example, I started off as an adorable little wizard. Look at him, he's so cute. Actually, he kind of reminds me of Soul from Soul Eater. If you ever watched that anime, man, I love that show. I started off in a school for the gifted. I think its name started with something like pigwarts? No, boarwarts? It was some kind of hog alternative. Oh well. It was a school where wizards went to learn to hone their magic. We had fun engaging in one-on-one duels, and we even had an older headmaster, a wizard that was stronger than everyone else. Kinda reminiscent of Dumbledore, if Dumbledore skipped his eyebrow-threading appointment for this week. There is a main story to follow, and that becomes your overall focus very quickly, but I feel like I am getting ahead of myself here. Let me backtrack just a little bit. For an anime MMORPG, I was quite surprised by the level of customization. Yes, it's no Purier Chronicles or Kurzspell, but the fact that you're given access to 15 unique hairstyles, faces, a large quantity of colors, various default outfits to pick from, and one of my personal favorites, the ability to control both your hair and individual cosmetics that you can place onto your face. It's honestly very well handled and something I spent maybe a little too much time doing. What? Don't judge me. From what I can tell, the story follows you, some unknown kid that, as you journey to put a stop to some other emo kid that has the power to digitally delete blocks? I think that's his power. Does that not look like his power? Wait, is this even a guy? Now, I will preface this by stating that I didn't get to experience everything the game had to offer, so my first impressions of this game are based off of what I did. Therefore, things like PvP will have to be done in a follow-up video. Like most MMORPGs, you have your basic skill tree, and skills learned at level 1, 10, 20, etc. You can spend individual points to obtain in-game to level up those skills, but be warned, your skill points are limited. Unfortunately, it seemed as though to purchase additional builds, you were required to purchase additional tabs using a form of premium currency, which, you know, could give people a slight edge over those that do not have access to it. And by edge, I do mean the ability to swap specs when they want to. Nothing drastic, but your pitchforks down, guys. For playing during the closed beta, I did get some cool little goodies, like this adorable little hipster cap. Oh man, I look like Avril Lavigne from the 90s before she sold out. I mean, what? Oh, I also got what is potentially the greatest costume a teenage boy could ever ask for. Something I am sure every guy secretly wants deep down. Oh yeah. Moving along. The game has a lot of story, like a serious amount of story. I know I pressed on that a little above, but holy shit, did I not realize just how much story there was. In my first 45 minutes of playing, I believe I spent a solid 20 minutes in pure cutscenes, which isn't a bad thing since, you know, most of them are skippable, and honestly, I love story. That's why I love Final Fantasy XIV, and it is one of my favorite MMOs. After wandering for what seemed like forever, I managed to happen across my very first real boss encounter. A cute little succubus. Oh, look at her little tooth. And that cute outfit. And oh, the guard's face, though. She ultimately left, leaving me to fight her pet, which I will refer to as Lizzie McGuire henceforth, because he's a giant lizard, and he's well, it's not as funny when you have to explain it, okay? This boss encounter, however, was quite confusing as he kept knocking me down, yet when I approached him, it would give me the option to grab on. So, not knowing what I was doing, I promptly mounted Lizzie and thought we'd go off and have wonderful adventures together. Instead, he just beat me like my stepdad used to whenever he got drunk. As I made progress through the game, I learned a variety of new skills, all of which were pretty pleasing to the eye, especially for an anime MMORPG. The combat was actually surprisingly fun. Playing a wizard, I got to experience a good amount of ranged combat. Oh god, what the fuck is that? Nope, I'm out of here. Sorry guys.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
This is the hero Gotham deserves.
While wandering the incredibly large city, I happened across a familiar tune. Two Xanarkand. There you go again, game, pulling at my heartstrings. The questing in the game was actually pretty good. There were just generic fetch or kill quests. During one quest in specific, I needed to make my way through a large enclosed area, attempting to avoid the enemy NPCs by scaling the walls and walking across the piping. On a completely separate quest, I was playing tag with the Shredder as he attempted to keep his distance from me. Another thing I realized though was that the environment was filled with items you can use to your advantage in combat. As you can see while fighting this boss monster, I picked up a nearby oil barrel and threw it right at him, dealing physical damage and then further applying a damage over time to him. This made for some interestingly compelling encounters. After I believe about an hour and a half, I made my way to the building and decorating aspect of Maplestory 2. This is a mode that I am 100% sure my wife will love, as she's a huge fan of The Sims, building simulators, house decor. The interface was a little confusing at first, but after spending 5 to 10 minutes in it, I figured out how things worked. I ended up building myself a nice little personable home, complete with a large HD TV right across from the bathroom, so if I wanted to, I could rotate the TV and watch it while pooping. Or bathing. Like the player housing, another very exciting aspect of the game came from the minigames. Although I only had the opportunity to test the maze out, I was well aware that the game did in fact offer various alternate forms of minigames with which to partake, something that is very unique and quite thrilling to participate in. Granted, I didn't win the maze race, but I also didn't do too badly either. I managed to make it far enough that I got to engage in my very first dungeon. Now, I didn't require the participation of other players for this specific dungeon, but nevertheless, it was unequivocally more difficult than anything I'd experienced up until this point. This was quite stimulating for me as there were moments where I genuinely got low on HP and needed to use healing items. From what I was able to tell, bosses have unique mechanics requiring you dodge, look out for telegraphing, and remain very mobile, which kept my attention at all times. Now, from what I played through, I can enthusiastically endorse this game as worth playing, disregarding any speculation on pay to win and categorically and objectively looking at the game for what it is right now. I can say that Maplestory 2 was, or even is, a lot of fun. I will definitely, so long as Nexon does not break this game with its cash shop, be there at launch and will dedicate time to not only playing it, but also recording videos on it. Thank you to everyone that watched this video. I'd like to take these few seconds to give a shout out to each and every single supporter we have over on Patreon. You guys are amazing. Also, don't forget to check out any of the other videos listed on the left or right. I'm sure you'll like them.